Hi, this is Darren and this is Tip Tap Game Clash. Today's episode we are checking out Kuyo Blaster. It's currently on sale on the Nintendo eShop, so it's one of those bargain buys if you have an opportunity to find it. Its retail price normally is about £9, but in the sale it's 89p. Is it worth buying? Well, check out the review. This is Kuyo Blaster, a homage to the Konami classic Parodius. When first starting the game, you'll be presented with its story. It's complete madness, so I wouldn't even pay any attention to it unless you can understand why this hamster is coming to Earth to save the day. But much like what Parodius did in the 90s, Kuyo Blaster is trying to replicate in this title. Using that heritage of side-scrolling shoot'ems set out by the likes of R-Type, UN Squadron and also Gradius, which Parodius was then based upon, Kuyo Blaster seems to pave its own way. When jumping into a game, you're first presented with 3 different teams: Endurance, Damage and Endurance Damage, which I guess is balanced. Once you've made up your mind, you then get to choose your character. There are about 20 characters in total to choose from, and these vary from the likes of Astro Boy, Bender, Shark Heads, Dogs, UFOs. Well, they've pretty much thrown everything at this game that you could imagine that would be suitable as a spaceship, and even things that don't. Each character though does have a unique style of attack and balance. These vary from damage, speed and fire. The environment seemed to copy that Parodius heritage, with humorous elements built into each of the levels. What is disappointing though is how relatively short each of the levels are. For example, the first level takes only about 30 seconds before you get to the boss battle, but we'll come back to the boss battles in a moment. As you play, you have a number of things at your control. You have a pulse attack, which basically nullifies the enemy's bullets, and this turns them into gems. Then you have a special bar. Your special bar is charged by gems. So if you collect the gems, it will then unleash the special attack. Unfortunately, you cannot control when your special attack is unleashed. Basically, once your bar is full, your special attack is then activated automatically, which can become quite frustrating. Also, as you play through, you will unlock bonus items and weapon enhancements, which increase your fire rate. Once you have defeated a boss, you get the opportunity to choose a permanent upgrade. And as you play through the entire game, these obviously keep stacking up. Upgrades do vary, so pay attention to exactly what's being offered. Other power-ups you can collect are the bots that will fly next to you to give you an additional weapon attack, but these only seem to last for a certain duration before they go. If you die, you do lose the upgrades that you've acquired throughout the levels, which is pretty typical for side-scrolling shoot-em-ups. Now let's return back to those boss fights, where each boss feels uniquely different, which is a great thing, but it does feel like they've been ripped out of Cupheads. And if you look at the animation style, you can probably see why I say that. Additionally, it feels like they run at different frames per second to the rest of the game, just because how frantic the movements are. But that's part of the charm of Kuyo Blaster. It's not here taking itself too seriously, and you shouldn't either. This is a straightforward, fun shoot 'em up. What I do like about it though is the pulse mechanic, and every time you come to that boss fight, working out the right timings in order to trigger pulse to collect the gems to then trigger your special is an integral part of that gameplay mechanic. It does also mean though that some boss fights will last literally 10 to 15 seconds if you can do the timings correctly, which does make it feel too easy. Interestingly enough, when we talk about difficulty, playing on easy is actually more challenging than playing on normal, and that's because of the way that your power-up system works. In normal difficulties, you're able to level up more quickly and also collect more gems, therefore your special attack is more frequent. In easy, you don't have the same opportunities to achieve that, and therefore boss fights actually become more challenging. The irony where easy becomes hard. It doesn't detract from the game, but it's also worth noting, so if you're jumping in, go for normal or hard just to maximise that challenge. Other things to point out that throughout each level there are a number of Easter eggs, from Nintendo Land's assistant monitor to a TARDIS floating in the sky. You have to pay attention to what's going on in the background in order to spot them all though, but when you do it does raise a smirk on your face. So what is the downside to Cuyo blasters? Well, not much. I suppose the main thing is that it's just the lack of polish, and while you have a variety of characters to choose from, only several of those are pretty much worthwhile playing as. Also, as previously mentioned, the levels are just so short, and yes, we're here to aim for the high scores, but you do feel quite shortchanged when you've got through the whole game in less than 20 minutes. But now let's think about the price. If this typically retails for about £9 or dollars, and yet in the sale it's 89p, it feels like it's a no-brainer to buy. But at what price point then does it mean that you wouldn't consider buying it? And I think for me, if it got to about £3, I'd still probably buy it, but anything over that I'd start questioning. Not because I think it's a bad title, but just because I feel like the overall package doesn't really justify a higher price. Cuyo Blaster will certainly keep you entertained for longer than a packet of crisps or some chips, but while they are tasty, Cuyo Blaster, not so much. To end this video, I'm going to show the first level in all its duration, just so you get a sense of exactly how long each level roughly lasts. If you did like this video, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much for watching. This is Darren and this is Tip Tap Game Clash.